Good evening. It is dark in here. Let me see if I can, uh-oh, going the wrong way. Lighten things up a bit. Can you help me out and turn on that light or something? Any of them. I need light. That helps a little bit. It's very grainy. I don't know why it looks like that. This was an impromptu meeting. I just got out of another meeting, and I thought, well, I'm already online, so I should try to throw in a video real quick. And let's see. So when you sign in, just let me know where you're signaling from, and we can get started on a couple of um, topics that I wanted to talk about tonight. Ooh, that's really, really bright.
Huh?
That one's really, really bright.
Want that one off?
Yeah, you can turn that one off. Thank you. That's better. Thank you. Yeah, it softened it a bit. Um, Hold on. Let me just see if I can catch up with some people. And you got, hold, hold on. I have to send text messages because YouTube does not send out my notifications. Although this time I did not send a notification, I just happened to end my last meeting at the same time I would have been coming on anyway. So um, I hope everyone is doing okay. And there was just a couple things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. One of them being the state of things. Now, you know that I believe in being as prepared as possible for whatever your particular situation is or could be or whatever. Um, and I think it's important that we're not ignorant to what's going on in the world, around the world. I know we can't necessarily keep up with everything that's going on all the time, but it is good to know um, the state of things as much as possible. So there's a few things going on right now. I just want to say this because I know some people would probably think it's a conspiracy theory. Okay, it is not a conspiracy theory that we have technology and so do other nations to manipulate the weather. Now they were doing it before anyway, cloud seeding and all this, when different areas would run into severe drought, and they would take emergency measures, they would call it, to seed the clouds with chemicals and stuff to make it rain so that there wouldn't be a complete and total crop failure. However, that same technology can be used as a weapon against a nation, against your own nation or another nation. And I happen to believe that a lot of the weather phenomenons and things that we are seeing happening around the world is what I would call weather wars, right? They have, uh, Russia, China, different countries they have technology and stuff that we also have. They don't have everything that we have, but we don't have everything that they have either. And some of this has been used to destroy other nations or parts of the nation by causing massive flooding and all that. I was looking at a video earlier where it was talking about this horrific flooding that's going on in China. There's a lot of flooding that went on here not too long ago. I mean, we're out in the country now, but we couldn't get here before. I mean, there were places we just could not go. The parks and things were closed off because the rivers had overflown their banks because there was so much water. There was so much water. We had, hi, Margaret. Hi, Carolyn. There was so much water that our we had water coming into our RV. It was crazy, and it just so happened that I have a shampooer here that I use, and I was able to use it, um, Chris and I, to suck the water up out of the carpet. It was only in our bedroom area, and so plus, well, we did have some going on in our windshield over here. We found that we were able to get that leak stopped. But it took us a while to figure out where that water was coming in into the bedroom. And so um, I think maybe 3 or 4 tubes later of whatever that stuff is, you put the sealant stuff that you use for RVs or whatever that stuff is, we're like 4 tubes into it, trying to plug up wherever we thought a hole might have been or crack might have been. And it rained again today, a lot, for a good, I don't know, 10 minutes. And we checked and double checked, and the floor is dry. So, what we found was that the water was running down our slide out, and it was penetrating the seam and then going under the floorboard. And so, and of course, the carpet was wicking the water up, right? So, we were we were doing the slush in the hallway, but we got it up. We got it up, and so this time, um, nothing. It's dry, thank God. And I appreciate my husband running back and forth to the store, getting this stuff, and climbing up on a ladder and trying to seal up any place where he thought water may have been getting in. And it was funny because I mean, we were looking at everything. We were looking at the toilet leaking under the floor, and then we're pulling out drawers, looking in the kitchen area. Is where the refrigerator is? Is there water running? Where's the water coming from? And it was coming from the rain, and so we found where the intrusion was, and we saw a video that talked about that very thing. People not being able to find out how that water is getting in, and it was getting in exactly, apparently, where the guy said this is where you need to look, and we did. It's the seam on the slide out, um, because it faces west. That side faces west, and the water, it was just worn. It just, I guess the glue came loose or whatever. Anyhow, so Chris found the sealant that he needed. He resealed it, and then he put some tape across that, and then he screwed the trim back on. And it rained cats and dogs today. Not very long, but it was a pretty hard rain. And I went in there, was standing on the floor trying to see that my feet get wet, and no. So thank God that's over. I tell you, the life of an RVer is something else. But anyway, so how is everybody doing? How are you doing, Margaret? You doing good? I'm doing all right. Just wanted to check on you guys, and like I said, I was just getting out of a meeting at 7, and I usually come on at 7, but I didn't give a notification, so I thought, well, I'm just gonna pop on here and see who shows up. So I hope you guys are doing all right. But again, I wanted to come on and talk about the state of things. Now, like I said, we can't control what all these people are doing. They're crazy. These people are nuts. We can't control what everybody is doing about everything in their country. But I would encourage you to go on your computer and look at the state of China, what is going on in China. If you think that's not going to affect us, you're wrong. Listen, if you shop at Walmart and you go in Walmart, just about everything you see in Walmart says made in China, made in China, made in China. Well, they've got this, what is it, 145% tariff? Um, I think it was 245. And I guess the president started feeling merciful or something. Because I think he's still a little put out over China releasing that virus all over the world, and then still think somebody want to do business with them. No. Anyway, and then the president got blamed for it, blamed for not taking it seriously enough and blah, 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 anything to throw him under the bus. So he's kind of put out with China right now because they did that to all of us and the rest of the world. But if you go online and you look at videos dealing with their economy, and I mean, I'm telling you, just just type in China's economic downturn and watch the video. It is sad what is happening to these people. And a lot of it is because the president or whatever, emperor, whatever he is over there, is more interested in saving face and not looking weak than he is feeding his own people. It is so bad. It is so bad. Oh, I'm telling you, people got problems with the United States. Go live in China. See how that works for you. Those people are going to starve to death if something does not turn around. It's awful. First, he did this whole zero COVID policy where he was literally, and I'm not kidding y'all. I mean, we saw the video. People were able to sneak video out of China because they don't have free press. We don't have free press anymore either. They report on what they're told to report on. But China literally has no free press. They are told and will be taken care of if they don't toe the line and do what the party tells them to do. But people were able to sneak videos out of the country as a cry for help to the rest of the world. Help us, help us. Now, China is stopping people from leaving the country. The prime minister or whatever they call him over there has locked the whole country down. It's like he's turned the whole place into a prison. They can't fly. They can't leave the country. Um, if you have a one-way ticket somewhere, they're going to flag you. You're not getting on the plane. You're not leaving. They're trying to stop people from leaving the country, and the people are trying to leave the country because they don't want to starve to death. So many businesses have abandoned China because of their policies and stuff, and the fact that the president has put so much pressure on them to do fair trade and stop with all the spy stuff, the spy balloons and the spy technology that's embedded in TikTok and Temu products and all this kind of stuff. And and so he's trying to put a stop to that, and to preserve the sovereignty of our nation. And so China decided they were going to they were going to try to be slick. Let me tell you what they were doing. They were sending their products through a different country, Taiwan, or not Taiwan, but somewhere else, and having them change the label where it did not say made in China anymore. And then that way it wouldn't be so high of a tariff on them because anything coming from China was 145% tax on it coming in, right? Now 100% you already ain't making no money, but 145% you're going to owe money. It's terrible. So China was trying to go around the back door like they do with everything, trying to get their goods into the country cheaper. We have this thing called the intelligence community, right? Not all of them are jerks. Most of them are, but not all of them. You got some bad actors in there, but you got some. that are seriously looking out for the welfare of the country. So, of course, the word gets back to the president that China's doing this. They're using backdoor deals with other countries, trying to get their products into our nation, and it's got spy stuff in it, right? Not all of it, but a lot of it does, especially the electronics. So they got found out, they got caught doing that. And what the president said was, anybody that's doing business with China and you want to bring your stuff here, we're going to charge you a tariff too. Right? So his thing was like, if you want to do business with China, fine. But you're not going to do business with us using Chinese stuff, trying to slide it into our country to do them a favor after what they did to us. No, not going to happen. So, having said all that, I'm saying that because the people over there have no money. The companies, the international market has pretty much pulled out of China. They are in an economic collapse. So is Japan. It's not good, folks. It's not a good thing that's happening over there. And I feel sorry for the people that you have business owners that have been running their business on a deficit for a year or two, and they just can't hold on any longer. They have no international customers or clients anymore because people don't want to pay the money. And so there's more than one way to be in a war. All right. They're calling this Trump's tariff war. Well, whatever you want to call it, the thing is, the president has been asking for fair trade for a long time before he was even president. When he was a young man, I saw videos of him talking about how the rest of the world treated us like a bank, like we're their personal piggy bank or something. And it was definitely the fault of the leaders, the Bush administration, the Obamas, the Bidens, the Clintons. All of them had their hand in the cookie jar. All of them. Bush Senior, going all the way back there. They all had their hand in the cookie jar. They were all doing these backdoor deals and stuff. And in the meantime, our country was going down the tubes because nobody was really looking after the people. Now, if you look at this situation with the Doge department, the amount of fraud and thievery that was going on is just astounding. And this whole thing with Ukraine, all this money going into a black hole over there in Ukraine, and here President Volensky said, out of all those billions of dollars, we only saw like 2 billion or something, whatever it was. That was American tax dollars and money coming from all over the world. And you know where it was going? It was going into these shell companies, these fake organizations and stuff like USAID and stuff like that was funneling money back to their friends, not even their constituents. They did nothing. They were literally bankrupting this country in the name of trying to help Ukraine, and Ukraine wasn't even seeing a quarter of the money that was being sent to them from around the world. It was getting sucked up by bureaucrats and lobbyists and all. It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. And I had mentioned this before. I think the only people that was really mad that Elon Musk found all this stuff, him and his team found all this stuff, is the people that was benefiting from it. Because now, their cookie jar's been broken, their rice bowl is destroyed. They ain't getting that no more. And so there's that, right? I would not, how crazy do you have to be mad at the person who caught the thief and not be mad at the thief, the person that actually broke into your house, cut your wires, bypassed your security system, and took your stuff. And the police come to arrest them and you mad at the cops. That's the kind of lunacy that's going on in our country. He's unelected. Listen, there's a whole lot of people that work for the government that ain't politicians. They didn't have to be elected. All they had to do was fill out a job application. How come you ain't mad at those people for doing their jobs. Hello. So anyhow, so there's that. So the reason that I mentioned all that is to say the food and the products and things that come from China ain't coming from China. Okay, it just ain't coming. And if it is, it's going to be very bad quality or whatever. I've been hearing reports about this has nothing to do with China, but I've been hearing reports about dairy and meat and things like this that are spoiling. Now, this has been happening for a while now, but it's been spoiling long before the due date. And people are trying to get people are trying to get around that by trying to hurry up and pressure can stuff or whatever it is they're trying to do to preserve their food. Um, I don't know what to tell you about that. Uh, that's a hard thing. It's a hard thing. I would take it back to the store, um, and I'd say, listen, here's the expiration date. Smell this. Here's my receipt. Here's the expiration date. Give me my money back, or whatever it is you need to do. Um, it really pays to know how to preserve your own stuff. Even when you're buying stuff from the store, if it's something that you're not going to use right away, and you know how to preserve it, you should go ahead and do that because you don't know how long it's going to last. You don't know what they've done to it. There's been all these different reports about people buying canned goods and getting home, like especially chicken and tuna, getting home and finding out when they open the can that is mostly water. Well, because they sell by weight a lot of times. So they just fill it up with mostly water. They put a quarter of the product in there, but the rest of it is water or broth or something like that. So you're not getting anything of what you're paying for. Now, I did hear good news on a White House briefing today, and that is that this coming weekend, if it's not too soggy for everybody to get out, this coming weekend, the gas prices are supposed to be going down. And I think that's because the president has authorized drilling, for oil and stuff like that. So the price of petrol should be going down. You should be paying a little bit less at the pump than what you've been paying over the last several months. So there's that. Um, the other thing was he's also putting a stop to these people that are perpetual uh, system abusers. Let me put it like that. I was watching videos earlier about people that are upset because he's saying if you are able bodied, especially if you're able bodied and you're single, go get a job. You should not be on welfare. You should not be on welfare. That is for people who cannot work because of a disability or whatever the reason is. They cannot work. They have a legitimate reason for not being able to work, and they need a hand up. That's what the system is for. It wasn't intended for someone to live off of it. So I saw a video earlier today where this lady was talking about she used to take her EBT. I don't even know what that means, but I know what it's for, but I don't know what EBT means. Anyway, she would take her EBT card to the nail salon because her salon has a policy that they take any kind of payment, anything. They take food stamps, they take cash, credit card, whatever you want to pay them with, the sky's the limit, they'll take it. Well, because of the changes and things that are happening with the whole welfare system, her salon decided they weren't taking EBT cards anymore. She was like, I have $8,000 on my EBT card. I'm thinking, who gets $8,000 worth of food on an EBT? Who gets that? Plus, she was getting something like $3,200 or $3,400 a month. This is an able-bodied woman who's able to work. And yeah, so stuff like that. And then people want to get mad when he cuts their benefits. Now, here's the fly in the ointment. The fly in the ointment is this: we because a lot of businesses did not recover after COVID, there isn't or there wasn't as many opportunities for work as there had been before COVID. Because before COVID, during Donald Trump's first presidency, we had more jobs than we had people to fill the jobs. I mean, we everywhere my husband and I traveled to, we saw signs that said looking for work, now hiring, now hiring. Now they could not get enough people to fill all of the jobs that were available. Well, now since COVID, a lot of those jobs went away. Usually, small businesses, mom and pop businesses, some of the big box stores are having problems. You know, Big Lots. We had one here. They shut down a month or two ago. They just packed up shop and left. And there's been, and I think people are going to start to look around and notice that things just ain't, you know, they're not good, but they're even worse in China. Trust me. So, so I had talked to you guys before about that. About preserving your food and making sure you have what you need and all that. So now we're coming down to the wire where people are going to begin to notice things are really missing off the shelves. And that's because the ships are turning around because they can't afford the port fees. They just can't afford it. So they're turning around, going somewhere else, and all that product and stuff that you're used to seeing in Walmart or wherever is not going to be there because the ships are turning around and they're going back. They just can't afford the tariff. So the other thing is, I know Canada has a new prime minister and the president is trying to work with him. Um, but he's not. Let me tell you something about him. Donald Trump is not Hillary Clinton. He's not going to say, we've drawn a line in the sand. There's a red line. Don't cross the line. And then when they cross the line, they want to move the line back a little bit more. Don't cross the line. And they cross the line, they want to move it back a little bit more. Well, don't cross this line. Yeah, he ain't playing. Okay. He's not that guy. All right. He's not that guy. If he says, this is what I'm going to do, then that's what he's going to do. And if he's not able to do it, it's because Congress blocked him somehow. Because he's not he's not a king. He doesn't have the power of decree to just do a thing. He can do executive orders, but the executive orders that he's doing is things that do not have to go through Congress, right? There are things, especially things that deal with money. Congress holds the purse strings, and we've got a lot of traitors in Congress and in the Senate that are being paid by China to obstruct. So there's that, right? We have judges that are obstructing intention. We have judges. Get this. If you can get your head around this one, let me know because I'm struggling. We have judges who have no federal jurisdiction over the border whatsoever, demanding that he bring back gang members and all kinds of folks to do all kinds of nasty stuff back into the country. Now, I'm having a hard time. I can't. I don't. I ain't getting the logic on that one, unless the judge is a criminal himself, right? Or he's been paid by somebody to defend the rights of criminals. Well, they don't have the same rights that we do. They have a right to due process. That's about it. They have a right to be housed somewhere. That would be jail. They have a right to eat. That would be a meal. They don't have a right to 3 meals a day. They do have a right to sustenance, but it doesn't have to be 3 times a day, right? It could be 1 time a day, whatever. You got something to eat, you got something to drink, you got somewhere to sleep. And I think people are very ignorant or ill-informed to think that if someone came into the country illegally and they're working and they're doing, yeah, okay, let's just back up a minute, right? If somebody came into your house illegally and you're trying to call the police to tell them to get out, I bet you would, right? I bet you would call the cops and say, get them out of my house. What is wrong with the government and Homeland Security saying, get out of our country? Nothing. Nothing. There's nothing. You know why in the mind of some people something's wrong with it? Because it didn't happen to them personally. See, a lot of times people feel far removed or so far removed from the circumstance that they don't realize it's affecting them too. All the thousands upon thousands of dollars that it takes to house and feed criminals is taxpayer money. The government has no money. They don't have money. That's why they tax the citizens. The money comes from those who are paying taxes, whether you're paying it on your food, whether you're paying it in the gas, whether you're paying it with your insurance, wherever the taxes are coming from, a portion of it always goes back to the government. Even the states have to pay some taxes to the government. Okay. So the government has no money except what they strip from the people, from the citizens. So it ought to, oh, thank you, Amber. Hi, Amber. It ought to give you pause. Like, why would anybody be upset that I'm not getting robbed? Why would anybody be mad that I'm not being taken advantage of? I don't know. You guys, I hope my picture's not too grainy. We got all kinds of lights on in here, and I don't know if it's my lens. Hold on. I'm still here. Don't go nowhere. Nope, that didn't help. Anyway, I was trying to wipe off my camera lens. Um so anyway, so there's that. Nobody should be upset. And let me just tell you this. These judges, I don't care if they are federal judges, they have a certain jurisdiction and they have a certain lane that they're supposed to run in. And trying to run the security of the nation is not their business. It's not their job. It's not in their wheelhouse. And if I were the president and I had a federal judge trying to obstruct justice like that, I would send the U.S. Marshals to get that judge and put him in prison for aiding and abetting criminals. That's what I would do. But hey, that's me. I ain't the president. Ain't y'all glad? Because it would be a whole different kettle of fish, honey, if I was the president. I can tell you that right now. I'd have to have a heavy detail because I got people don't like me right now. And I'm not even the president. So I'd have to have some real heavy security because I'd be going in beast mode. Okay. Everything would be turned upside down. I'd be shaking out pockets and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so my next thing, I forget what I said. Now, see, I forgot what I was going. What was it? Anyway, I hope y'all are doing all right, and I hope the food situation in your area is okay. Um, it's okay in some areas, and in other areas, like I said, it's not. And all you guys, you kind of spread out all over the place, and you're going to have to keep an eye on what's going on. And really, I know some of you guys work and all that, but you really need to take the time to um, look at what's happening in other countries because it does affect us. We trade with a lot of these countries, and if they're in trouble, right, it could bring trouble to us too. We're trying to recover. It's going to take a while, and I don't think that a complete recovery can be accomplished in one presidency. I don't think so. Maybe, hopefully, um, but it's going to take a while, and you're on your own. You're going to have to manage whatever situation you're living in, so that you're not feeling the whole blow of what's going on um, in the world right now. So anyway, don't let people steal from you. Don't let people steal from you, and get involved. Get involved in your local community. And when I say get involved, I mean this country was founded on the principles of we the people. And for a long time, oh, I think all of us, I know I was born into a nation where it seemed like the president and the Congress had all the power. But it was mostly because the people, especially Christian people, were disengaged from society. You know, everybody was just waiting for Jesus to come, right? Newsflash. Okay, I think if he comes right now, he's coming with a cat of nine tails because the church is just, it's, I don't know what's going on with the church. Anyhow, all kinds of scandalous stuff is going on in the church. Oh, it's ridiculous. Okay. Anyway, until he does come, what did he say? Occupy until I come. Occupy. Yeah, and you know it's a military word, but I'm just going to leave that right there. Occupy till I come, meaning you have a responsibility to either take ground or hold your ground where you are. We were born into a system where we thought or has been run as if the president makes all of the decisions. That's not the way it is. It's we the people, right? They will not hear your voice. Your representatives will not hear your voice if you don't pick up the phone and let them know you're there and that you're watching, right? It doesn't mean that you have to go, become some political analyst or that you have to know every single bill that's going to your governor's desk or whatever. But it is important that if there's something that's important to you, you can look into it and see is anybody dealing with this issue? Who do I need to talk to? Call your representative, call your congressman's office and say, I'm concerned about this, or this. They'll take your name and everything and they'll make a note of it. They have to log these calls when they come in. But it's like I was telling this other group of people, if they don't hear from you some kind of way, they're going to do what they want to do. They're just going to do what they want to do. And it might not be what you wanted them to do, but because they didn't hear from you and a decision had to be made, well, they're just going to do what they think is right. They're not hearing from the people, right? So, and then we get mad at them because look at the mess we're in. Well, what's the last call that you made? Did you make any calls? Did you call somebody? Did you send a letter? Did you send a postcard? Did you log your grievance with their office? What did you do to help turn the situation around? Because it's really time out, you guys, for us, people sitting back waiting for things to change or get better on their own. It will not. It will not change by itself. It will change, but it may not be for the better or for your better if you don't at least try to make it better. So you do have a part in this. You do have a responsibility in this. Um, some people feel like the only thing they're supposed to do is find out what's happening, find out where the hot spots are, gather together with a group of people and pray, pray, pray. Other people feel like, we need to go make an appointment to go speak to our representative and have our notes as to what our issue is, what it is we have a problem with, what are you going to do about this? You can go on to the congressional website or the Senate's website, and you can look up whatever bills are on there, and you can see who voted for what. You can see if your representative is voting in the best interest of the people or not, right? And there's a whole lot of, I'm telling you, I think half of Congress is corrupt. I really do. It's crazy. It's crazy. Half of them have been bought by China. Half of them, it's bad. It's a bad thing. So um, I have no doubt God's going to fix it. Now, how long that's going to take, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take, but He'll fix it. And don't fret yourself because of evildoers. I can tell you about some evildoers, right? We got some evil people around here. Around here, God gave me a dream a long time ago, about, I guess, 4 years ago. And He told me, you're surrounded by wolves. And I'm thinking, great. things. But at least I know, and I knew who to look. I listen. I'm sitting in the room, getting ready to get sworn into my office, and here they come. It's just crazy how God will give you eyes to see. People were coming to this swearing in ceremony that I didn't know. They were coming in from other counties and stuff because of the person that was going to be swearing me in was very popular in our state. And they were coming through the door, and I'm looking like, there's one, there's one, there's one. I could see him. I'm like, oh my word. I was surrounded by wolves. But God. So that was my first term. I'm in my second term. I was reelected by a landslide again. And I'm just trying to do what's good for the people. That's what I'm trying to do. And they got some mouths out there that there's a lady, there's four ladies actually that are running for a national committee woman in our state. And I'm this kind of person, right? If somebody's running for office and they want my vote, I want to talk to them myself because you got the haters out there. Trust me, I know that will come up. I'm telling you, people got some wild imaginations. They will come up with some stuff, and you be sitting there like, are they talking about me? Because it ain't got nothing to do with you. This one lady was telling me, and she's running, and she was telling me, she said, Pat, I started hearing rumors about me getting up and cussing somebody out in a meeting. She said, number one, Pat, I don't cuss. And number two, I wasn't even at the meeting. I didn't know about the meeting. Right? So people just, they just make up stuff. They make up stuff. I had a guy stood up in the meeting and said, she told me in my own ears that she hates children. He was talking about me. I was like, no. I was like, now see, you shouldn't have done that. Now I'm just gonna sit back and watch and see what God does to you. I ain't gonna do nothing to you. I'm gonna let him do it. You're gonna wish it had been me instead. But I'm gonna let him take care of you because you got issues. Anyhow, so yeah, it's a jungle. It is a jungle, and yes, there are wolves, and yes, they are everywhere. And I'm telling you, people will lie. I mean, lie. If they will stand there in a room, lie on you, know they're lying while they're calling you a liar. Right? It's a clown show. And you listen, you gotta have tough skin, man. I'm telling you, when God calls you to do a thing, you better toughen up because it ain't like the devil's going to say, yeah, well, I guess I'll go home now. He ain't going home. He ain't going home. And if he try to go to anybody's home, he gonna try to go to yours. So you gotta have some tough skin because I'm telling you, people can do some outlandish stuff and come up with the craziest. You're like, what? Yeah, it's a jungle. So anyhow, Amber said she's had people do that to her. I'm telling you, it's like, I mean, they will make up a whole thing. It's a whole, and you're just sitting there like, but here's the thing. Let me tell you something. I am old enough in Christ to know how to choose my battles, right? I'm sitting there in a room where half the people know me, and a little more than half the people don't know me. And so all they got to go by is what this guy is saying, right? They hadn't had a conversation with me. They haven't had a phone call with me. They hadn't had lunch with me. They hadn't done none of that. They're just sitting there aghast over what he's saying, right? And it's like, oh, well, I didn't know she was like that. Well, she ain't. And if you had taken the time to talk to she, you'd have known that she ain't like that, right? So my policy is if somebody's running for office, and I've done this for years, and they want my vote, I want to talk to them personally. It might be the only conversation I have with them. I don't know. I know how the mud can sling. I know how the political games can be played. I know how they can do opposition research or whatever they want to call it. I call it, dung digging, because they're just looking for some crap to dig up so they can throw it in your path. I know how stuff like that can be done. I've watched people go through that. I've gone through that. And so giving people the benefit of the doubt is what I do, but I do it by way of talking to them myself. I know a liar when I'm in the presence of a liar. Okay. I know that spirit. Let me tell you, I know that one. And so if I'm talking to an individual, I'm able to decipher whether they're being truthful or whether they're being serpentine. Like I had this one guy, I was asking him about his vote, and he called me and he told me he didn't have a whole lot of time to talk, but he wanted to give me a call. Okay, and we were talking about my running for office, and he prefaced the conversation by saying, "I just have a minute." Okay, well, okay, that's your default position. Fine. You got a minute, I got a minute. So he started talking about all kinds of stuff that had absolutely nothing to do with why he said he was calling. So, you know what that tells me? He's calling because he said he would, but he's trying to run the clock down because he does not want to talk about what he said he wanted to talk about, right? Or what I said I wanted to talk to him about. He's trying to run the clock out so now he can say, well, I've been on here longer than I should have. I got to go now. And so I got annoyed. Imagine that. Anyway, I got annoyed and I said, listen, when you called, you said you didn't have but a minute to talk, and you've spent this whole time talking about something that has nothing to do with what we're supposed to be talking about. So are you going to answer my question or not? So this is what I mean by you listen, you talk to people for yourself. I know from that situation that he is an escape artist. Let me put it like that. He operates in diversion. If he doesn't want to answer something, he's just going to try to run the clock down on you and talk about all kinds of mess that makes no sense and has no bearing on anything that you're supposed to be talking about. And then, oop, all of a sudden, I got to go. You know what I mean? So, it's a game. It's a game that people play. I don't play it because I just stopped him dead in his tracks. Hey, you preference this by saying you only had a minute and you just been talking about stuff that has nothing to do with what we're supposed to be talking about. So let's just get to it. you know, I don't have no patience for that. Can we just get to it? Let's just get to it. So anyway, dealt with that. I put him on the ropes. You're going to answer me. Okay. I put him on the ropes. And when it comes to these other ladies that are running for office, I spoke to everyone myself. There are two ladies that I was leaning toward. The other two, one just I don't know who took the wind out of her sails, but to me, she just did not have the drive to stand in that office. To me, she just didn't have it. So I know I'm not going to vote for her. And then and I don't know her as a person, right? So it's not a personal issue that I have with her. It was based on my conversation with her. To me, it had no substance. When I was asking her why was she running, well, she was kind of hemming and hawing like she wasn't really sure. And well, I just thought that maybe I'd just throw my hat in the ring too. This is the people's business. Do you understand that? This isn't a game. This isn't hockey or you know throw the ring on the peg or this. You're dealing with people's lives here. So the fact that she could not give me a solid answer as to why she was running and what it was she thought she could do to make things better, to make the state better, to make the country better, she lost my vote. So that was all her. I didn't know her. I had no reason to have any kind of ought or anything against her. That was all her. That was based on her lack of substance. So I won't be voting for her. The other lady, I thought, see, this is why you need to talk to people yourself, right? Some people are very good writers, Very good writers. I read this lady's articles and I liked the way she wrote and I liked what she had to say. I mean, I read several articles. This particular lady, I was reading her articles, had been reading them for a while, felt like I knew her because the way she writes is so personable. Well, I decided to give her a call and ask her the same questions I asked the other lady. So I did. And then we got to sharing some experience and stuff that we had being in politics and all that. And I think she thought she was helping. I think she thought she was helping. I was just, she was talking to me about some of the roadblocks and, the hate mail and all this stuff that was coming after her. And I was telling her, yeah, I guess what I just experienced. So I told her what I just experienced. And she proceeded to give me some advice on how to handle things. And here was the fly in the ointment. The things that she was saying to me didn't cross the line, but it was right at the line. I mean, right at the line of, to me, unethical, maybe. And there was a couple of times I felt like she was standing on the line. She didn't cross it, but she was close enough for me to take my hand and push over. And I thought, oh, okay, I got a problem with no, no, because it made me think, if she's saying this to me, this is how she operates. This is how she functions. So she would get right up to the line on something and maybe do an about face, or maybe if she's manipulated enough, she'll just step over the line and excuse what she did. She lost my vote because of that. See, this is what I'm saying. You talk to people yourself. It had nothing to do with anything anybody else told me. Nothing. I had not talked to her before, had never had a conversation with her before. I had just read her writings. And I liked what I was reading and I liked the way she wrote, but I did not like the lady. After I met her and spoke with her, I'm like, oh, okay, this is a whole different kettle of fish here. She lost my vote. That narrowed it down to two people, right? Oh my God. And then it took a little time, to get through everybody, but narrowed it down to two people. First of all, if I text you, if you put out your announcement that you're running for office and you got contact information and all that, and I contact you and you don't contact me back, you lost my vote. Okay, it's just that simple. Yeah. Listen, I'm in politics too. I answer phone calls, okay, all of them. I answer text messages, all of them. So I don't want to hear it. Anyway, we're servants of the people. If you're too busy for the people, who are you serving? Yourself? Hello. So anyway, so I texted this other lady and I told her I'd like to speak to her. Asked her to give me a call at her convenience. She called me back right away, which was nice. And I like her. I like her a lot. But endorsements matter. Okay? And I said this to her, endorsements matter. When I saw different people that were endorsing her, I had a problem with that because I had had personal experiences with these people. I know how cutthroat they are. I know what liars they are. I know the political games that they play. I know the hurt and destruction that they cause in the lives of other people. And they endorsed you? I'm thinking to myself, there's more to an endorsement than just a signature. There's more to an endorsement. When somebody endorses you, the weight of their whole life is coming down to bear on whatever it is you're trying to do. And these people just about destroyed our county, but they endorsed this lady. And I'm thinking, I don't like the company you keep. That's where I'm at with. I don't like the company. If you accept that endorsement, now I got a problem with you because I know what these people did when they were here. I know the damage that they did and that they're still trying to do. And they've moved and they're still trying to mess up things here. Do I have a problem with her? No, but I have a problem with who she allowed to endorse her, knowing what these people have done and what they are capable of doing. So that put me on pause with her. It put me on pause because let me just, you don't know who I'm talking about. So let me just give you an example of somebody that you do know. When Donald Trump was first running the first time, you might remember this big old scandal that the mainstream media came out with concerning um, who was it, David Duke or whoever the Grand Wizard was of that organization with the white hoods and all that. I'm trying to be careful. YouTube don't cut my video off. Um, they endorsed him. And all that did was fed the flames of people saying, he's a racist, he's a racist, he's a bigot, he's a racist, all this. Endorsements matter. And I'm telling you, it affected his campaign. Now he still won, but it affected his campaign. It made people that had trusted him take a step back and be like, what? Endorsements matter. So what did he need to do? He had to go on record by saying, I have denounced them. I don't want their endorsement. That's what he did to try to clear his name, because what was happening was people were trying to get all kinds of stinky stuff to stick to him to make him look bad, right? It's a tactic that people use. That's what the guy did to me. He tried to, anyway. Um, And that's what they tried to do to him. Endorsements matter, folks. If you're going to run for office, endorsements matter. And you don't have to have everybody's endorsement, but they should be credible people. They should, if you're going to be endorsed by people that other people have respect for, at least, right? Endorsements matter. And that gave me pause with her. I don't have a problem with her. I think she's a wonderful lady. I think she's a hard worker. But my concern is this: how far are they in your ear? When I know what they've done to this county, or well, I'm not even in that county right now, but in that county, I know what they've done. I know the trash and the legacy that they left behind. I know what they did. And they endorsed you. That's not good. That's not good. So you're either desperate for endorsements and you don't care who signs their name onto you, or you are absolutely blind to who these people really are. Either way, that ain't good, right? That ain't good. That means if you can't see who they are, then they can manipulate you. You have a completely different picture as to who they really are, and they can just use you and twist you and manipulate you because you don't see who they really are, or or you're in cahoots with it. Either way, to me, that disqualifies you. Um, that's me. Like I say, that's just me. So then that leads me to the other lady. Oh Lord! And I was asking my husband, "What are your thoughts?" And he was leaning toward the same person that I was leaning toward. And because let me tell you, we don't always vote the same. Okay, we don't. I have a mind of my own. He's got a mind of his own, and when it's all over, I look at him sometimes and say, "I can't believe you voted for that. Why did you do that?" But anyway, so this leaves this other lady. I know her. I don't have a relationship with any of these ladies, but these last two, I have been around them. We've been in meetings together. Both of them have traveled through the state, out of the state, and has done good work, very good work. Has helped our state and the people around them quite a bit. But back to the other lady, the endorsements matter. If these people have been that destructive and they're still in her ear, and they're able to influence what she does, then I can't hook my horse to that wagon. I just can't. Why? Because I'm in politics and that affects me. Birds of a feather flock together. Okay, I'm not going to get diseased because you took on something that you did not have the smarts to check into to make sure that you even wanted that endorsement. Okay, so there's that. This other lady, I have never, um, she has a different spirit about her. I've never seen her put a foot wrong. I just haven't. And I spoke to her myself again, and that conversation, that conversation went very well. Um, but the knives came out for her, not for me. But I saw the knife. I saw the knives. Now I wasn't there at that meeting where the guy stood up and said, she cussed this person out, and the meeting that she wasn't even at. that one, right? I could relate to that. I could relate to somebody just making something up and just and then people be like, as if it's true because they didn't take the time to question you themselves. And so I saw the knives come out for her, and I'm sitting back looking at this like, that's the one. That's the one. When you got to listen, just like the Jesse Smollett's of the world and all these people that got to feign racism and make up all this stuff because nothing happened actually, and they just want to keep the fire burning. That's what was happening with this young lady. And I'm sitting back watching them try to crucify her. And I know she hadn't done this stuff, right? I'm thinking, that's the one. That's the one. The one that they're trying to absolutely slaughter her reputation. That's the one. Because if she was that bad, it would be out there in the public. It would be out there. People can't hold water in a bucket. It would be out there if she was all that. She wasn't. So they have to make it up, right? So she's the one. She's the one. So I pretty much know who I'm going to vote for. And I'm gonna do everything I can to help her. If she gets elected, if she doesn't get elected, then I will do everything I can to work with whoever does get elected. But they wouldn't have been my choice. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to spend my life trying to work against them. I mean, come on, ain't nobody got time for that. I'm going to try to work with them. Now, if they don't want to work with me, then I'm going about my business, and they can just have at it. But I'm saying when it comes to your life, your community, um, your county, your whatever parish, where it is you live, you need to talk to people yourself. And if they don't want to give you the time of day, that's your answer, right? Because they're supposed to work for you. They work for you. They work for we the people. I work for the people, right? That's why I'm available as much as I can be. I do have a family, but as much as I can be, I'm available. That's why I tell you guys, if you write me, I'm gonna write you back. I'm always checking the email address that's in the description. I'm always checking to see if I have mail there. And if I do, then I will answer. There's some of you on here. We've talked. We've talked on the phone. We've talked through email. We've talked through text messages because I get back to you as much as I can. So anyway, um, so I'm a person of my word. If I tell you I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, and that's just it. And that's what I look for. I look for uh, what's your reason for running? What is it that you say you want to do? What have you done up till now? Right? And so, like I said, these last two ladies, I've been watching them. We've been in meetings together around the state and whatever, and I've watched them. And I like both of them. But the one, I can't get past the endorsements of people that are evil. Evil people endorse this lady. And she's either blind to it or she doesn't care. And that's a problem for me. So I probably, the only way I would vote for her is if this other lady dropped out. That's the only way I would vote for her. But as it stands right now, my conscience won't let me do it. And I'm not going to sin against my own conscience. So there's that. Anyway, y'all tired of hearing me? I'm looking at the clock like, oh my God, I done kept y'all on here for an hour and 9 minutes. Sorry about that. Anyhow, let's see. So I'm going to read y'all's comments here. Amber says, kind of makes you wonder, are those the people that stand in front of a mirror and, and hit themselves? Well, I don't know. Somebody need to hit them. Shoot. Anyway, listen, who else is on here? You guys need to make sure you click the thumbs up thing. And please share my video. I'm telling you, YouTube is suppressing me. There's all kinds of content creators that are talking about, and these are people that have thousands and thousands. They're saying YouTube is not, they're not pushing my videos out, which is stupid. I mean, because YouTube makes money. They make money off of the videos that people are making, especially when they have commercials and stuff that come in. They make money off of that. So why they would cut off their own nose to spite their face, as my mother would say, is just stupid. But anyhow, yeah, so I'm pretty dependent on you guys to push my videos out there and to send the link, to people that because they just, I'm telling you, YouTube is a mess. They're a hot mess. If I was dependent upon them for my livelihood, I would be a whole lot thinner than I am right now, because they don't pay me. God bless everybody else that's cranking out, 2 and 3 videos. I ain't got time for that, first of all. Mm-mm. And second of all, I'm just hanging out with you guys because I like hanging out with you guys, right? Because YouTube don't pay me nothing. Mm-mm. They don't pay me. I don't know what these people did. Hey, JB, I don't know what all these people are doing to be taken on YouTube as a job. I have no idea. I've never looked into that. But some people do it as a source of income, but I've never looked into that. So anyhow, well, you guys, we're coming up on a holiday weekend, and I'm out here after a very brutal political week. Man, woo! I tell you, they tried to put me in the guillotines. It was the man tried to kill me. He tried to cut my head off in a room full of people. I just sat there and looked at him. I just sat there. Wow. Now, mind you, let me just say this about this gentleman. Let me just tell you this. He ran against me in a previous election. He ran against me and he lost, right? He got 2 votes and I won by a landslide, right? The enemies that left here put 5 other people up to run against me. They did this. They put 5 other people to run against me. And I'm thinking, what did I ever do to you? But anyway, and I still won by a landslide. And the guy that stood up in this meeting and was pontificating about me being a liar and that I told him in his own ear that I hated children. We have never, ever, ever had more than one conversation. That was 2 years ago. And that was when I asked him what was his aversion to the Pledge of Allegiance. Because every time we say the pledge, he runs out the room. It's like, but you want to run for Congress? What you going? They open with prayer and the pledge, right? You going to run out of the people's house every time Congress opens session? You want to? No, no, no. You're not wanting to represent the people. You want to represent your own philosophical view, and you need to just go start a club somewhere because you cannot represent the people of the United States on the House floor like that. All right, just saying. So anyhow, he got a hate on for me because I won by a landslide. I had the highest number of votes out of all the offices that were being filled at that election. So, and he got 2 votes, himself and the person that nominated him, and that's all he got. So he got a hate on for me. God bless him. Lord bless him. Lord say if you bless your enemies, and the Lord will heap coals of fire upon their head. And I'm praying God burn his brains out. But anyway, you guys, I just love hanging out with y'all. Oh, somebody else told me that, Amber, that they're throwing commercials. I ain't doing it. Okay. Somebody else said that to me last time. I think it was JB that said that somebody was throwing it. They were throwing commercials in there. Hi, Audrey. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a jungle. Let me tell you. Woo, it ain't for the faint of heart. It ain't for the faint of heart. It's just, let me tell you something. I was at dinner with my husband, and I was at dinner with a senator friend of ours and his wife, and he's a Christian and he has a ministry as well, and he used to be in law enforcement, and he told me, he said, he said when I was running for office, he said I had people that were courting me, and they were running for an office too, and they were courting me and going to dinner and doing all this kind of stuff. He says, and then he says when they won their seat, they didn't want to have nothing else to do with me. So, oh yeah, they used you. He said they didn't want to have nothing else to do to me. He said they see me in the halls of Congress or the Capitol. He said they just look at me like they don't know me and walk right past me. I feel you. I know exactly what you're talking about. And he says I prayed and I asked God to let me be the same man walking out of here when my term is up as I was when I walked in. And I said, that's a good way to pray, or at least be better. Be a better man. Don't be part of the machine. Okay, be a better man. And yeah, he said it was a rude awakening of just how brutal and cutthroat politics can be. Well, here's the thing: you have to determine not to be part of the machine, right? You're there to make a difference and to represent the people and do what's best for the people, not to become part of the machine that's breaking the country. That's not what you want to do, and that's not what you want, who you want to be, or at least not me. So, you know, um, I'm going to do the best I can with what I know and the information that I have. And like I said, you have to try to do your best to talk to people yourself. Don't go by gossip and backbiting and cutthroat treasonous behavior. Talk to the person yourself. I had some years ago, before I was in the political arena, years ago, we had a representative here that was, well, he wasn't a representative yet. He was running for office. And I I wanted to know. I had some questions. I wanted to know where he stood on the issue of abortion, and other things. I just wanted to know where he stood. And when I called, his wife answered the phone, and she said, they had been. I think he was running for a second term, because she said they had been at the Capitol all night, going through bills and hammering things out on the House floor and all this. She said he just got in and he just went to bed. And she says, maybe I can answer your questions. I said, well, maybe you can, but I still want to speak to him since he's the one running, you know. So whenever it's convenient for him, here's my number. Please ask him to give me a call. I left it at that. He did call me. He called me back, and we talked for a while, a good while. I didn't feel rushed at all. I didn't feel like, he was looking at his clock. Okay, I got to go now. I didn't feel any of that. And we talked, and I expressed some of my concerns and wanted to know where he stood on some of these issues. And so he was telling me, and he got my vote. Um, but then after he got in there, he turned his hat around backwards and turned into, I don't know what he turned into, Jekyll and Hyde or somebody. But anyhow, I became a little disillusioned with him. But here's the thing, you get in there, and I'm telling, look, guys, I just came out of a convention where we had to elect a brand new chairman for our state, a chairman and a vice chair for our state, and they won by a good margin. And yes, I voted for both of them. The vice chair, this is his second term, and boy, did he have a way to go with the first chairman, the chairman that he was working with. It was awful. I mean, it was. If I could impeach the guy, I would have impeached him, and I helped him campaign. This is what can happen. I helped him campaign because he was an awesome senator. He was very much in favor of you being able to protect yourself in your home and your family and your property, while other people who say they're Americans don't think you have the right to protect yourself or your stuff or your family, right? So he was fighting 10 years, stuff like that, and trying to look after the people. He was an excellent senator. But when he changed office and went into another arena in politics, man, he turned into a completely different person. And first we were thinking, okay, he just has to learn the ropes that this is not run like you do in the Senate. You know, here we use Robert's rules, there they use Mason's rules, and he's just got to get his arms around how it's done in this arena. Well, it yeah. He got to where he wouldn't answer calls, he wouldn't keep appointments. He would, I mean, it was just bad. It was like, we don't know what happened to him. We don't know. It was people, I was told there were people that he had been friends with for decades. He stopped taking their calls, he stopped taking their visits. He just completely backed away from people. You're supposed to be serving the people. How are you going to completely back away from people, not take their calls, not read their letters, not how, what are you doing? What are you doing but getting paid, right? So we voted him out. We voted him out. We tried and tried and tried for 2 years to get this guy to remember the oath that he took. And he just did not care. So now we don't know if he was threatened. We don't know if somebody dug up something from his past and said, you know, play ball or we're going to leak this. We don't know what happened. We just know that we were glad to see him go because he was a hot mess. And it's a shame. And I spoke with him personally um, about some legal stuff that I thought was going on here in or there in our county. And and he tried to, you know, not deal with it. And I wasn't going to let him not deal with it. So I just stepped right in front of him. And you're going to answer me. Okay. You're going to answer me because I elected you. You're going to answer me. You're accountable to the people. And so, anyway, I was glad to see him go. And it's a shame because he's very smart. He understands the Constitution, but he did an about face. And this is what can happen. This is what can happen. This is why, you know, you win some, you lose some. My husband and I helped him campaign. We traveled to different towns and stuff to help him campaign and to support him. And he was great at what he was doing at the time. But then when he switched arenas, man, he turned into Jekyll and Hyde. And I withdrew my support. After I spoke to him and I saw that this was going nowhere, I withdrew my support. And that's what I'll do. You know why? Because I ain't a hypocrite and I ain't phony. I'm going to offer my help and I'm going to remind you that you're accountable to the people. And if you want to go in a different direction after you took an oath to the people to do a job for the people, I will withdraw my support from you. You will not get a dime from me, okay? Because I ain't supporting no mess, and I'm not going to throw money at something that's going to hurt the people that I represent. I'm not doing it. So, oh well, this is why you got to talk to people yourself, get a feel of them, and listen. Listen to what they don't say. Listen to what they do say, but listen to what they don't say. If you ask them a very specific question and they want to get all serpentine and dodge and duck and weave and all this, it's a problem. That's a problem. That's an integrity issue, okay? And you need to make note of that in your mind before you vote for them. Now, sometimes you got to hold your nose and pull the lever. You know what I mean? You got to hold your nose and fill in the blank for whoever. Like, I don't know, some people say you got to choose the lesser two evils. And I'm kind of like, why I got to choose evil at all? But and I have been known to abstain. If I feel like if I do this, I'm going to be sinning against God because I know better and I know what they're about. I just won't. I won't do it. So anyway, well, blah blah blah. That's me. That's me. Um. Uh. Yes. Yes. Amber is right. She said you just described the okay work field people that use people and it makes them feel at whole sleep soundly. You know, I don't even know how some of these people sleep. I have a conscience. I think some of them have lost their conscience and they just do whatever they do. But nope, nope, nope. I'm going to be able to sleep at night. And this is why I didn't fire back at the guy. I could have said, so here's the guy who got 2 votes out of a whole convention, got a problem with me running for running for office. But I didn't. I ain't come out of my bag because I'm gonna let God deal with him, and he gonna wish he had to let me deal with him. Right? That guy, he's gonna, man. I tell you, it's not gonna go well for him. But I'm not going to. I'm not a spiteful, vengeful kind of person. If you get on my nerves, I'm gonna tell you. So you ain't got to be walking away wondering, wonder if she's mad. You'll know. You'll trust me. You'll know. You'll know. I don't. Yeah. Anyway, so, and I ain't mad at him. I feel sorry for him because that was just absolutely stupid. To stretch your hand against one of God's people like that is just kind of dumb. But he'll find out. So, anyway, I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful holiday weekend. And thanks for hanging out 20 minutes longer than I normally would hold you on here. And I hope this picture isn't too grainy. I don't know why it's as grainy as it is. We have all of our lights turned on, and it's just grainy. I don't know why. It's usually clear. It looks grainy on my side. I don't know how it looks on your side. But anyway, you guys have a great weekend. And I will see you the next time I come on. I don't know if I covered everything I said I was going to cover. Let me see. Um, Hold on. I want to make sure I have to look on my phone because if I try to look the other way, let me see. Oh yeah, I did. The welfare thieves, and I wanted to know how you guys were doing, how you were making out with everything. So, amen. I was just looking at what Amber wrote. Oh, thank you. Okay, I'm glad it looks clear on your side. Thank you. Y'all see what I did with my hair? Nothing. I did nothing with my hair. I sprayed some water on it. It's still natural, no perm, no nothing for the last since 20 um 16, 15, something like that. Yep. So all I did was I sprayed some water on it and combed it forward and tucked it with a comb. I don't know if you can see that. No, you can't see it. Anyway, there's a comb in there, right there. And that's all I did. So my silver crown. You don't see my silver crown. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, you guys. Have a great weekend. I will see you the next time I come on. Keep prepping. Stay peaceful. And I love you. And I appreciate you. And share my channel. Share my channel. All right. Bye.